So for today's edition of Tarot Reviews with Talula, we are reviewing the Wild Unknown Tarot, written and illustrated by Kim Kranz. This is a deck that is not mass-produced. You can't get it on Amazon, etc. You need to go to the Wild Unknown website in order to purchase it. So if you are interested in getting this deck, a simple search on Amazon isn't going to be the answer for you. This is what I would call an indie deck. It's a deck that isn't as mainstream or wildly popular as ones that are produced by large publishing companies like US Game Systems or Los Scarabeo or Llewellyn. And I'm not knocking those decks, but as you all know, this year my goal is to work with decks that are very unique, crafted in a very personal way, and artistic in nature. I have a lot of Rider-Waite-Smith type decks, and I am ready to kind of branch out and have some unique decks. And this deck is definitely unique, and the purchasing process and the unwrapping of the deck is a very personal, beautiful experience. So if you are waiting for it to come in the mail, you're going to love opening it. And if you decide to buy this deck after watching this review, I'm excited for you in your unwrapping experience because it's very, very beautiful. Before we get started, this is my Reiki charged mug with, look, it has red jasper in it. And I found this at a gift store in my town. It's called Black's Gift Shop. And I love this mug. It's like my special mug. It was a gift that I got just for myself. And you know, we all need to do that every once in a while. And I just love it. Isn't it gorgeous? It's handcrafted and Reiki charged, and there's red jasper on it. I mean, how could I not get it? There was red jasper on it. So anyhow, I just love this mug, and I am drinking Yorkshire Gold tea today as usual. And it's nice and hot. Vincent is napping, so this is my fun time with you all. And I just can't get enough of blue this spring. I don't know, it's interesting. So I've been wearing a lot of blue lately and decorating with a lot of blue and working with a lot of mermaid energy. So that's kind of fun. So let's talk about the Wild Unknown. I'm kind of in a meandering mood today, so we'll see where this video goes. As far as stones that I like to use with this deck, I'm wanting to share that a little bit more with you all, and I've had some people ask me to share more about that. So Apache's Tear is my favorite stone to use with this deck so far, and quartz crystal would be my next favorite to use with this. Occasionally I use aquamarine, but really this deck loves Apache's Tear, for me anyhow, and I love to use crow feathers when I am working with this deck. And I like to actually sage a lot when I use this deck too. So while I haven't really been using it for shadow work, and some of you might find that the mainly black and white consistency of the theme of this deck lends itself well to shadow work, I haven't been using this deck for shadow work. I've been using this deck more for clarity. And this deck is very clear, I will tell you that. But you might find that it lends itself well to shadow work. However, I do really, really love to work with sage and some of my more native tribal tools when I work with this deck. And that's always a huge blessing for me and a huge bonus when I have a deck that I can work with very well with that and very beautifully. So when you receive the box, this is the case that it comes in. It's absolutely gorgeous, and the camera isn't picking up, but all around the wheel are colors. So your typical like chakra colors or rainbow colors all around that wheel. And the beautiful thing I absolutely love about this is when you open the box, this is a box you're going to keep. The bottom of the box, it looks like the card backings, and there's this really great ribbon so you can easily pull your deck out. And then this is what the top of the box looks like. And it says, "Welcome to the Wild Unknown Tarot. You'll find no wrongs or right inside this box, only mirrors for reflection. Open your mind, draw a card, and have fun on your journey." So that just gets you excited anyhow, doesn't it? I mean, this is just so beautiful. This is a box that you're always going to keep. It's very sturdy, and I think the beautifulness of it lends itself well to storing your deck in this box if you feel drawn to. So you do have to purchase the guidebook separately, and I did not purchase the guidebook. I haven't yet. I do plan on purchasing the guidebook, but I only had enough money for the deck and I didn't want to wait. This is what the guidebook looks like. My dear, dear friend is letting me borrow it right now. And she has a small introduction and then the card meanings and a reproduction of the card image. The book has that really nice, like, velvety soft feel that I love when books have this. So that is really cool. The back has these suit symbols. And the book is beautiful. It's $20 plus shipping, so it's not too expensive for what you're getting. It's really gorgeous. It's wonderful to have the insights into her inspiration and how she looks at tarot. I mean, that's always fun for us to see anyhow. It's something that we all really enjoy, or we wouldn't be watching tarot videos on YouTube, right? So this is definitely worth the purchase, but you don't need this to use your tarot deck. And the major arcana are in the back, which I find really cool, kind of different, so that's fun. The little kind of white book, but it's just really a page that opens up that accompanies the deck, is enough to get you started with your tarot work. So if you can't afford the guidebook, you can just go ahead and purchase the deck and then get the guidebook later on. It's a wonderful addition to your practice, but this will get you started. So there's this little flap which gives you the major, the major arcana. It talks a little bit about the major arcana. Then it has the suits, so we've got pentacles, we've got wands, and then obviously swords and cups are down here. And on the back it has the, like, just one or two words for the meanings listed. So for instance, if you get the Six of Cups, her keywords are illusion and deception, and that's all that it says there. So it gives you a jumping off point, and this is really pretty. This is gorgeous. So, and it's not too bulky or big. It's nice. You can carry it around with you with your deck if you're just getting acquainted with the meanings, or if you want to get acquainted with her meanings for each of the cards. So that is what comes with your deck. And the guidebook, again, is purchased separately and is a worthy investment, but not necessary to the deck. So here is the backing. This is one of my all-time favorite tarot backings ever. This is so gorgeous. I just love it. I mean, this is a meditation in and of itself. The images are mostly pen sketches, I guess we would say. And there is a use of color, but it's very selective. So for example, here's the Two of Cups. So there is the use of the color red in this, but it's very selective, and so the color really packs a punch when you use this deck. There aren't any cards that I really don't like. Even, like, here's the Seven of Cups. Even cards that don't really have, like, the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith images with each of the minor arcana, I still feel like just from the use of the pen work, I get a feeling for what the message is with this deck. So I really don't dislike any of the images. Here's the High Priestess. Isn't that gorgeous? Owls, Daughter of Swords. And again, selective use of the color. Very, very, very powerful when you draw it in a reading. Well, might as well. Here's Mother of Swords. Mother of Wands. Eight of Swords. Oh, Three of Pentacles is gorgeous in this deck. And here's another example. This is the Nine of Cups, I believe, but you can see that there isn't like something happening in the image. It is just the symbol of the cups, but then this use of the purples and the blues, the arrangement, and then with the moon, this is very powerful, and I feel like you get a connection to it, even though it is, you know, more of a like Thoth lineup with the minor arcana suits with the numbers. Mother of Cups. Here's the Magician. Now the image for the world is the image on the cover of the deck and the guidebook. Very beautiful. Oh, Wheel of Fortune is great. Isn't that intense? I mean, the images are so gentle but so powerful. I feel mostly like when I work with this deck that I'm out in the woods and I'm actually really like in nature, but it's very solitary experience, this deck. Here's Five of Pentacles. So it really is something that Ten of Wands. Oh, Hanged Man, bat. I love it when we use the bat for Hanged Man. So gorgeous. It's something that is really, really a personal experience with this deck, and I have used it for a few of my clients. This deck has come forward and wanted to work with them. And interestingly enough, I find that it's often when this person is going through something that's very a pivotal time in their life, and perhaps it's a difficult experience, and this deck is the one that often comes forward and works with them, and they have a very powerful personal reaction to this deck as well. I mean, it is again one of those decks where I feel like sometimes I just take myself out of the picture and take a step back and let them just sit with the images themselves. So this deck is one that is very unique and very personal. Here's Two of Swords. Here's the Moon. And so you can see just by looking at the images that this is a deck that would lend itself very well to shadow work. And like I said, I haven't really focused on shadow work with this deck for myself. This deck has been more about clarity and guidance for myself. Here's the Sun. This is a deck that I don't feel attachment to an outcome when I draw the cards. It really helps me to step into a space that's just honest and clear with myself about where I am and how I've gotten into the space that I'm currently finding myself in. Oftentimes I'm uncomfortable with the space I'm in when I use this deck. Here is the Five of Swords. Here's the Hermit. I love that one. Oh, Pentacles are, the court cards are Deer. Here's Father of Pentacles. Oh, I love this image. Here's the Strength card. Here's Justice. Here's the Empress. This one is so unique, and I really love it. Let's see, Daughter of Wands. Oh, Temperance is really different too. These cards are just such a personal, again, personal and unique. It's like the only words that I can really use to come close to describing the experience of this deck. Here's the Six of Wands. Love this image. Oh, Judgment. So good. Here's the Seven of Pentacles. So I'm going to tell you a little story about this. It's going to be a long review. In my birth chart, the Seven of Pentacles is my life experience card. So I work a lot with the Seven of Pentacles, and to date, my favorite Seven of Pentacles image has been in the Tarot of the Vampires deck by Ian Daniels. But this card is right up there with it now for me. I drew this, the first time I drew this card, I did like a day-long series of meditations with this. I was at work and it was slow, and I was able to have the card with me and kind of like just carry it around with me. And when I was eating lunch, or there was a few minutes where I could just take a break and pull back from the day, I would sit and meditate with this card. And I had a deeper understanding of what this card means as my life experience, as my bloodline card, and how to interact with this card in a new way. So this image, Seven of Pentacles, is very powerful. This is a deck that is great to meditate with. Here's the Chariot. And I assure you that you're going to have deep experiences with this. In some ways, I feel like I'm in Alice in Wonderland, not the movie, the book, when I work with this deck. And so I feel very imaginative and drawn in and excited about the images and the experience that I know I'm going to have with this deck. So here's the Six of Cups. So it is a very experiential deck, and it's one that does require you to give it time. Nine of Wands. Ooh, Son of Wands. Here's the Fool. I mean, how different and perfect is that for the Fool? Let's see, Two of Pentacles. Here's the Mother of Pentacles. So that would be the Queen. Ten of Swords is so good in this one. Let's see. Oh, Five of Cups. Here's the Ace of Cups. So you see these themes, these energies, these spirit animal representations repeated in the decks in certain cards. And that is really powerful. And it does encourage us to work with spirit animals as well, and to honor and understand the power of the symbolism of animals for us in our life. Here's the Devil. The Tower. Father of Cups. And I love this card, Ace of Pentacles. I mean, this is like a tattoo. This is like a perfect tattoo, isn't it? It's gorgeous. This is a good one. Nine of Swords. So some of the images are quite visceral, and Seven of Swords really do demand that we make a careful and an honest examination of ourselves. Daughter of Pentacles. So I'm showing you a lot of images, Four of Pentacles, and so you get the same feeling that you have when you look at the more traditional Rider-Waite-Smith look, although you could argue that this is actually a more traditional representation of the minor arcana, but when I say traditional, Rider-Waite-Smith comes up for most of us. So, but you get the same feeling of being boxed in, of the storylines that you created, and a need for control when you look at this card. So let's see, here's the Emperor. Nice bookmark to the Empress. Ace of Swords is so yummy. And one of my all-time favorite images of the Hierophant. I don't think we're disappointed in this, are we, Rory? Yeah, this image is absolutely gorgeous. And here is Four Cups. And the Death card. This is a gorgeous depiction of death. So this deck feels like a teacher that you take a serious journey with, like a beloved teacher that you know you're going to work with for years, and you spend a lot of time outside in nature with this teacher. And on these walks that you take, you come back from those walks out in the woods, in the mountains, by the river. You come back from this experience with so much knowledge that you've gleaned, and so much more of an understanding of the beauty of the human experience as a whole. So that is my experience with this deck. I mean, it's such an experience, and it keeps growing every time I work with this deck. And it really is personal experience, and it's one that feels very unique to each of us. And I think quite a few of us ended up getting this deck around the same time, or perhaps started to use the deck again around the same time, because we saw the beautiful images of Dharma Apple on Instagram when she works with this deck. She has gorgeous images with this deck, and so a lot of us ended up purchasing this deck at the same time, or at least using the deck again at the same time. So I think all of us have had our own very unique personal experiences with this deck, and a lot of us carry this deck around with us. So this is a powerful, experiential deck, one that you're going to work with probably for the rest of your life, and that's going to give you very clear answers, but that's also going to take you on a journey. So it is wonderful for meditation, and it is one that's great to use for clients. And I think the time, at least for me, that it really shows up for clients is when there is a large decision that needs to be made in one's life. I love this deck. I thank the Wild Unknown. I thank Kim Kranz for creating this gorgeous, gorgeous deck that is truly, truly unique and wonderfully divine, and is such an honor to be able to use in spiritual practice. Again, this is a deck that's going to take you outside of just divination. This is a journey deck. This is a shamanic journey deck. That's how I would describe this deck. If you are considering purchasing it, it is worth the investment. The cards are great quality. They're not too slippery. They're not too shiny. They don't slide all over the place. I love that about these. The quality is wonderful. They're not too flimsy, but they're not so thick that you can't really get a good worn-in feeling for them. And again, just look at the packing. I cannot stop staring at that image when I see it. So let me know what you guys think of the Wild Unknown Tarot. If you're considering purchasing this, I greatly encourage you to go ahead and do it. It's going to be worth it. You're going to love this deck. Many blessings to you all. Thank you for joining me for this review, and I will see you in the next video, guys.